The 500R8 and the Big Six perform similar functions, but for somewhat different users. There are a lot of products out there on the market that offer USB audio interface functionality, including a lot of my synthesizers actually. But these are two of the very few products that I can think of that have put an emphasis on offering studio level sound quality. After they open, I'm going to look at some of the key features they share and some of the key differences between them. The 500R8 with its customizable channels and feature set is clearly geared towards recording. I use it as a hybrid studio production tool, but when I want to jam with it, I kind of have to do some hacks. It doesn't have any built-in aux sends, and it doesn't have any kind of built-in gain for some of my quieter synths. Now, the SSL Big Six is pretty well balanced. They've built a lot of flexibility into the machine, so that way the feature sets can serve either the studio mode or the jamming production mode. You have the stereo buses that can function as either monitor sends or as aux sends. Things like the G compressor, which you can use as the traditional inner chain on the mixing, or you can send the stereo one bus to it and to kind of like maybe smash some drums and do some parallel compression. The talkback mic, which you can use as a talkback mic or turn on that compressor and send it through some effects and use it as part of your actual production. The SSL engineers have put a lot of thought into maximum flexibility. But they did have to make some compromises, which I feel landed more on the studio side. Only the first 4 channels are fully equipped with the super analog preamps and the more extensive EQ options and the one-button compressor. The other 8 channels are basically just line gain with some limited EQ options. And as one commenter mentioned a few weeks back, you kind of have to be careful to make sure that your mixes don't all develop the same kind of EQ curve. Let's take a look at the tracking and recording workflow for these 2 boxes. The 500R8 is really built for flexibility and customization from a recording standpoint. So when I want to jam with it, I usually have to, do some hacks and bring in maybe some other studio gear, say like the Audient ASP800 to kind of boost up some of my synths. I've got to repurpose some of the channel outputs to be sends for effects pedals. It requires a little bit of a setup. Nothing too bad, bring in some patch bays and you're good to go. But the downside is that when it's time to like transition from jamming and production writing to actually tracking the song, then that transition itself becomes a big process because I then have to hook everything out and kind of reconfigure everything so I can record the main tracks. And so that transition becomes almost like another process in and of itself. The Big Six, on the other hand, is basically perfect for jamming. I mean, it's got a lot of that functionality has been thought about and put into the box. So you can do sends, you can use a lot of the external inputs and sends and the talkback to really become part of your production methodology and sound creation. When it comes time to actually record the tracks, the transition from jamming and writing to recording is seamless. Now there's one big caveat, one big drawback to the SSL Big Six. It's got a ton of features and functionality built in, but if you need more, you're probably going to be out of luck. For some inexplicable reason, they didn't add any ADAT or word clock or anything to this machine, so it's basically a standalone machine. If you need something more than what this box can provide, it's going to be very hard to kind of hack it to make it happen. Be sure to tune in to my next video when we go through a whole summing mix with just the SSL Big Six.